22 minutes gone past 12 o'clock right here from our beautiful studio, Nigeria Info 99.3. And I'm not the only one in the studio. I do have D for Details. Oh, by the way, this is Maternity Line Show, but D for Details does have a message. What did you say?
I forgot the name of your show.
Who says?
You.
Maternity
How
Line Show.
could you have forgotten the name of your show?
Maternity Line Show.
How dare you forget?
David, stop it.
I'm not stopping.
How?
I will never stop.
What name did I call?
Until you get it right.
I don't understand. What are you getting right?
You got it right.
Lagos, D for Details can be,
I can be abrasive.
Aha. So you just said it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have information for you. Zaynab, are you ready?
Of course I am.
Do you have any plans for Sunday?
Okay, what's
I'm
happening?
not promising to take you out on a date.
What's happening?
Something is happening. It's called The Jewel, the most anticipated and mesmerizing theater show this season, this Easter season.
All right.
Yes, Eko Hotel is transforming its convention center into the future of musical theater, with a show that will redefine the Broadway experience, both excellence-wise and otherwise. The show is called The Jewel. It is inspired by very, very seminal works of, literary luminaries in the Nigerian space. I'm talking about the works of Wole Soyinka. Yes, his Lion and the Jewel inspired this. And of course, Olarotim's Our Husbands Have Gone Mad Again inspired this work. You do not want to be told of the beauty that is going to happen on Sunday. Just get your tickets at Eventport and go to the venue at the Eko Hotel Convention Center. Now, you know that place for more elaborate, shows and events. Well, this time around, we're going a little smaller scale, but the impact will be no less small. We're talking about The Jewel. Go catch The Jewel this Easter Sunday. Make sure you're getting your tickets at Eventport. Go, hurry, because these tickets that we're talking about are going out like that. They are finishing like zap because these seats are limited. So do not be told. Go get your tickets and then come back and tell me. So I don't want you to be told, but I can be told because I'm the one recommending this show for you. Go get it and make sure you enjoy yourself and have a blessed Easter.
Have a blessed Easter, he says. Lagos will be right back right after this timeout. Stick around.
Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347*880*3#. Play with as little as 500 naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning every day on the Morning Crossfire, What's Up Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 naira jackpot. Playing during the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347*880*3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
For 3 great seasons, the fans have fought with passion and fire, their best they brought. The banter was bold, the debates were tight, each word a weapon, each match a fight. But now it's bigger, the stakes much higher, the battle returns and it's full of fire. Grand Battle 4 with Femi and the gang on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The stage is bang. In partnership with Sports Salon, we raise the game with glory, honor, and a shot at fame. Think you've got what it takes to score? Then step right up. It's time for more. Register now and take your stand. Your time to shine is now at hand.
Registration is ongoing on www.nigeriainfo.fm.
And Battle 4. Let the battle begin.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Happy holidays, maternity liners. Once again, wishing you a peaceful and meaningful Good Friday. Whether you are reflecting, resting, or spending time with loved ones, or you are in quiet prayer, or simply, taking a moment to pause, may you find comfort, strength, and renewal in the spirit of the season. Big hugs from all of us at Nigeria Info FM to you and yours. Be sure to stay safe, all right? Welcome to another episode of Maternity Line Show, where we put a spotlight on issues affecting health and the well-being of mothers and babies across Nigeria. I am Zaynab, your host, and on the show last week, a commenter that was Shemilore, message noting that many of our women sometimes act uninformed and many of their partners are not helping. Stating further, she said this is a serious issue, and sometimes many couples act like once they already have a neighbor midwife, things would always go smooth. This needs an awareness, a very serious one, she says. And guess what? On that note, we start today's conversation. All right. First, I would love to state that earlier in the week, Tuesday, yes, I was in conversation with MD, founder of Assalam Convalescent Center. That was Dr. Rauf Salami, right? Owner of the private hospital that has been in the news following the death of Kemi Folajimi, particularly on the allegation of 500,000 deposits as alleged by the husband of the late pregnant woman so it was a way to give this hospital a chance, to respond directly on the matter. But yesterday, he concluded with me that since the Lagos State Ministry of Health is already on top of the matter, it's best to let us hold on having them to speak for now. I mean, as a matter of fact, since there is a press statement online. Remember, I read out part of that press statement last week on the show. Right. Now, however, remember last week I discussed Save Motherhood in Nigeria, Kemi Folajimi's death, a case of ignorance, injustice, or both. And towards the end of the show, unexpectedly, registered nurse Emetuobi called into the show because she found that a critical moment to educate our pregnant women, especially those who are solely relying on Midwife-Neighbours. And that is why we are having this conversation today. The conversation is tagged "The Hidden Dangers of Relying Solely on Midwife-Neighbours." You might be wondering, what does that mean? So here is the thing. Remember, now in many parts of our country and across the globe, by the way, women still turn to traditional birth attendants, often older women in the community with maybe no formal training, quote and unquote. Pregnant women turn to them for help during childbirth. And while their presence, right, can be comforting and deeply rooted in culture, there are some real risks we need to talk about. Okay? So, Nurse Emetuobi is back on the show today because she's someone who knows this topic inside out. Right? And she's a registered nurse, maternal health advocate, MD of Borat Medicals, known for educational maternal health content. Bukola Emetuobi, good afternoon.
Zaynab.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for making out the time to be back on the show today. I do appreciate this. May God honor you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So last week, I remember sort of by observation, it's looking as though women consulting with midwife-neighbours, I did put that question to you, that it's looking as though that act is now steering them away from registering for antenatal care formally. And you said a couple of things. Amongst some of the things you said, some of the points you raised was even you started by saying that every pregnancy is unique, and the fact that child A was birthed vaginally doesn't mean that that is how it's going to be for pregnant 2, right? And
Yes.
you also emphasized the importance of registering with very good hospitals, especially during emergency cases. They will know where to turn, and these hospitals need to be well equipped.
Yes.
Those are some of the things you mentioned last week. Now, let's start with the basics. Many of our listeners grew up seeing neighbors help deliver babies, and for some, it's worked out just fine. Now, while then is it considered risky to rely solely on midwife neighbors? Understanding the role of midwife neighbor.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Right.
So, firstly, I'm going to say that childbirth is not something that can be predicted. You can't predict what will happen when you are giving birth to your child. You might plan to go for VG delivery, which might end up with C-section. So it's not something that you already programmed that is going to go this way. That is why the place you're going to give birth is very, very important in terms of maybe they have the facilities, in terms of if the person is well experienced, and also the environment, the labor environment, if it's conducive. So you need to consider all these things before you choose your birth center, before you choose any place you're going to give birth. You need to consider if those people have the license to practice, and if the labor environment is conducive, because during childbirth, some people might even get infection because of the nature of the environment. And also, do they have the facilities that they can use in case of emergency? Maybe the child will be taken to NICU. Do they have the facilities for NICU? In case the woman is having postpartum hemorrhage, bleeding after childbirth, do they have the things to resuscitate, to make things be in order? So you need to consider all these things. It's not about having anything, okay, this woman is good, she's very professional, those stuff. But if she's not having some of the things for emergency cases, then things will go wrong. So you need to consider all those things before you choose your birth center. It's very, very important.
All right, Nurse Bukola, remember in the past when our mothers, or let me say maybe grandmothers or even great grandmothers, back then when they would be consulting with neighbors, midwife neighbors, at the time it used to look like, oh, those people, these quote and unquote professionals were making life comfortable for them. They assist them in deliver babies, right? And for some reasons, it worked out just fine. But right now, can you talk to us? You've raised a couple of points from what you just said, but I feel like right now in this age, what's your thoughts on solely relying on them? I got the part where you said a pregnant woman must do all due diligence in terms of registering with good hospital, well equipped and all. But right now, what is different between what's happening right now and back then when our grandmothers used to rely 100% on these midwives?
I won't say things were going on right back then, because they have countless of stillbirths. You see the mother dying during childbirth. Compared to this generation, the number has reduced. So we can say that then the method that was used then was very, very good compared to the recent one. So they recorded larger numbers of stillbirths as at that time. You see a mother that will say, okay, she was pregnant for maybe she was pregnant 9 times, but presently she's having like 4 children because they died maybe during the time of birth. So we can say that those people were more effective than this present generation.
Okay, so now midwives are better educated.
Yes.
Now, Nurse Bukola, I'd love for us to put things in context. Can you talk to us, who exactly are midwife neighbors?
Midwife neighbors, midwife should be someone that is registered, a registered midwife. So if the one person is in your neighborhood, maybe it's very close to you, So we can put that context as midwife neighbor.
Hmm.
So, but it is not all midwife neighbors that you can give birth in their center if some things are not considered. If the person is having the license to practice, that's fine. What about the labor environment? Is the labor environment conducive? Some people might be using just one room to take delivery. Is in that room they will take delivery. They will do they will do everything. They might even be having deliveries of 3 women at the same time, and they might get things wrong. So the environment, the labor environment should be considered. Now, is this your
Midwife neighbor.
neighbor?
Yeah.
Is this person having the facilities to resuscitate you in case of emergency? Maybe the child is already having the blood pressure or the breathing pattern of the child is already high. Can the person revive the child? So you have to consider this. If the person is having the license to practice, but the environment is not conducive and the person is not having the facilities in case of emergency things, then that is not the good center for you to go. It is not good for you to go to that center. You have to consider those 3 things before you can choose that person. That, okay, this is the person that will take my delivery. It's not about having the license alone. You have to consider other things. What if you've planned, okay, you want to go for C-section? Yeah, there's a case of a woman. I was having a chat with a woman. She asked me that what can cause postpartum bleeding, that is a woman bleeding till death because her sister died. So I was not telling her that maybe they are not having the facilities to resuscitate her, to do in case of emergency. So I asked her, did she give birth in a local center or in the hospital?
Right.
She said a local center. That means when the woman was giving birth, the woman was bleeding. So
Hello, Nurse Bukola. Hello. Oh, wow. Nurse Bukola, are you there? All right. Lagos, be a part of this conversation. We are discussing, if you're just joining us, this is 99.3 Nigeria Info, and we are highlighting the hidden dangers of relying solely on midwife neighbors. Nurse Bukola has been able to help us understand who a midwife neighbor is. They could be, sometimes they are professionals who live close to you, and because you know that this auntie nurse, any small thing like this, you don't go to them. Headache without going to the hospital for proper checkup or diagnosis. Now we see pregnant women relying 100% on them. This is not to say maybe those people are not professionals, maybe not, maybe they are, but you are not doing it the right way you should do, because even in times of emergencies, like the case of the late Kemi Folajimi, may her soul rest in peace. In case of such situation, how do you handle such case, especially if you're not formally registered in a hospital previously, right? Now or prior. So, and she was going to make a case, but I'm guessing her internet played up on her. Lagos, be a part of this conversation. Last week was Save Motherhood in Nigeria. Let me see if I'm able to bring back a Nurse Bukola.
I'm with you.
All right, our nurse is back, registered nurse, MD Borat Medicals. All right, so you are going to make a case. You said there is a case of a woman. You were in conversation with somebody yesterday or the day before.
Yes. I was chatting with a woman and she asked me that what can make a woman to bleed and die after childbirth. So I made her realize that maybe they don't have the necessary facilities, they don't have the things in place to save her. So I asked her that did the woman give birth in a local center or in an hospital? Then she said she gave birth in a local center. That means the midwife was not having the necessary things to save her. So in that case, the woman might have the license to practice, but are other things in place? So which pregnant women need to check? If the person is not having the necessary facilities in case of emergency, then that is not the right place for you to be.
So, Nurse Bukola has highlighted necessary facilities, how conducive the environment is, apart from midwife being licensed. All right. To be a part of this conversation, 0201 2770993 020146579190. Our WhatsApp is 0809 5975805. I don't know what's going on with the nurse Emetuobi's side of internet connection. She keeps going out and coming in. Nurse, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So now, I would love for us to highlight the risks themselves. What are some of the most common complications during childbirth that a midwife neighbor might miss or mishandle? You've spoke about conduciveness, you've spoke about having the necessary equipment, but in a case where a midwife neighbor who is not quote and unquote licensed and under the guise of, oh, I'm a medical professional, what are the things they may miss that a pregnant woman needs to know? Because they don't need to rely. They don't even need to rely on them 100% when the hospital or the primary healthcare centers are there.
Hello?
I'm with you.
Yeah, some of the risk involved is, number one is postpartum hemorrhage. That is the woman bleeding heavily after childbirth. You know, when the woman starts losing blood, that it can make the woman go into shock, and the next thing might be death. So that can make the woman to die. So that one is a risk involved. The next one is the heartbeat of the child. The heartbeat of the child might be going down. Normally, the child is supposed to go to NICU. But if the woman is not having the things in place, or the midwife, maybe a man or woman, is not having the things in place, definitely there's no way they can be able to manage this low heart rate. And that can lead to the baby dying too. So we have many other complications that might happen. And some people, maybe the woman is having third class tear, and the person is not able tear, maybe from delivery, from VG delivery, of which normally the woman is not supposed to have VG delivery. She's supposed to go for C-section. But because, okay, they will just want to try their best, this woman must give her true VG. And the woman will try, she will force everything out, and she's going to have third class tear, which the person can't be able to undo. So there are many things involved. The emergency case, most especially the NICU aspect, is very, very important. It's not everybody that is having that facility. There's a case of a woman that gave birth recently. When she was already 9 cm dilated, she was 9 cm dilated, but it's not possible again for her to further because the heart rate of the baby was already going down.
Oh my.
So because of that, they have to take her for emergency C-section. What about in this case, if this thing happened in a local center, what would have happened to that child? So we have to consider the risk involved before we choose any center for childbirth. If the person is having a license, that's fine. What about other facilities? And is the person also good at what he or she is doing? You need to get the review about that hospital or health center, anywhere you even want to give it. You need to get review about them. How the success rate, the death rate, and so on like that. So it's not about just going to a nearby place because it is cheap. You know, people like cheap things now. So, but you need to consider your life too. So there's a case of a woman also that was she gave birth at the local center due to she was bleeding. By the time they rushed her to our hospital, the woman was dead. So, you know, normally we have to check her before she comes into the hospital. So when we checked her inside the car, she was already dead because movement from the local center to the hospital, you know, during that time, anything can go wrong. So that's why any center you want to choose for your childbirth, please make sure it is well equipped. It is important in case of emergency situation, because you might plan that, okay, this delivery will go on in this way. Well, it's not, delivery is not something you can predict, and it can go in the other way. So the other way is emergency case, which has to be handled immediately. That's why emergency immediately. So carrying you from a local center to a place that is well equipped, anything can happen during this period.
Thank you, Nurse Bukola. I love the fact that you've shared real life examples without necessarily naming some of these facilities where people solely rely on these attendants, which also have led to preventable crisis. I love the fact that you've been able to highlight what pregnant women need to understand where things might go south in the case of postpartum hemorrhage, heartbeat of the child may drop, or the woman herself having third class tears. Right? Lagos, once again, to be a part of this conversation, 0809 597 5805. You might be saying that, but this is Nigeria Info now. Nigeria Info women, maternity liners are more educated. But what if you need to share this gospel? Choose someone who is not even listening to maternity line right now in your community, and why you need to educate them about things they may have missed. Let me take this message. This one is coming from Olashebikon. Olashebikon says, "Good afternoon, Zaynab. Well done. Great to have Dr. Bukola." No, she's Nurse Bukola.
I mean, not midwife.
Nurse midwife, she says on the show. She said he said, Olashebikon said Dr. Bukola. So great to have Nurse Bukola back on the show. I love the fact that Nurse Bukola comes back to educate women further on this. And I also think that men need to be more informed on this conversation. Sometimes we see men leaving it all to their wives. But this is a great show for men to also learn. Thank you, Mr. Ola Oshebikon, for your thoughts. Now, okay, this one is coming from Ola. Okay, still opening. Good afternoon, Nigeria Info. Some of my friends have this nurse girl on their contact list. So one day, one of my friends posted the said nurse contact, and I add to my contact list. Guess what I'm seeing on her post? She posts malaria medications, infection drugs, skin infection drugs, and other types of drugs. She even posts testimonies of people she has treated. Many of the followers don't know road to hospital. This type of practice needs to stop. Oh, okay. CJ from Bariga, thank you for your message. This is coming from Oluwanishola. Oluwanishola says, good afternoon. There's a lot to learn on this show, Zaynab. Why can't they just extend the time for you? Oluwanishola, bring sponsorship. All right, it's Maternity Line Show. The numbers to call 0201 277 0993 90. I have a midwife registered nurse, Bukola Emetuobi, on the show, and we are discussing the hidden dangers of relying solely on Midwife-Neighbours. All right. Let me see. I have more questions for Nurse Bukola. Now, Nurse Bukola, talking about bridging the gap. Do you think that traditional and modern medicine can work together in maternal care, or are they too far apart in practice? I mean, we cannot deny the fact that, or look away from the fact that traditional birth attendants still exist, and some of these people still hide under the guise of midwife, being a midwife, right?
Yes.
So from your own, from your professional instincts, let me put it that way, do you think that these people could exist side by side, or are they too far apart in practice?
I won't say that they are too far apart in practice, because they do more of practicals, even compared to some people that go to school. When you ask them to come and practicalize those things, they can't be able to stand beside these local midwives. But the thing is for us to the bridge, we need to close that bridge by training them. Let them go for training. They should go for training. That is very important. That's the modern training. Not just relying on the previous knowledge they have. Maybe they inherited it from their mothers, grandmothers, and so on like that. So, but let them go for the modern training so that they be able to know the necessary things.
All right.
To do in case of emergency cases.
All right.
Because during that period, I believe they had more seabeds then compared to this present era.
All right.
So they need to go for training.
All right. Let's take this call, nurse. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ladies.
Mrs.
Good
Oboli.
afternoon to your guest.
Good afternoon.
This
Please
is
go
Mrs.
ahead.
Oboli calling from
Yes,
Colorado.
from your voice we can tell. Please go ahead.
I want to say thank you for today's topic that has to do with relying solely on midwife neighbors. So I understand the fact that they should go for training, but I should also say this. You see, even if it's not maybe the local midwife or people, what about the ones that are also trained? Anything can go wrong. I understand the push, but I think we should also push for having a safe environment that is not too expensive, where women can give birth to children, and the price will not be an arm and a leg. You understand what I'm trying to say here? Because
There
as the nurse
is.
was saying, that people like cheap things. So let me build on that context now. I did not give birth to my child. Okay, my first two kids, the midwife I used was a trained one, but I don't know how she had an oversight of. She didn't know that my special son, had joined this, and before you know it, something went wrong before I was referred to another hospital. Now, the second one, what we observed was that she was trying to come out with her hand. That was my third child now, was trying to come out with her hand as against her head, and she noticed it and she sent me to a other hospital. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you see, they say the public hospitals
Make it
now, they
snappy,
don't
Mrs.
collect
Oboli, so you
money.
don't get cut
I
off.
beg to differ. That notion, please, whatever it is we're doing, let's also push and clamor for the fact that a woman should be able to give birth at a very lesser cost, if possible. We should be pushing that narrative. That's all I'm out for. Thank you very much, Lady Zaynab.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Oboli. Nurse Emetuobi, you were going to say?
Yes, government has made that has provided that for that situation.
Yes.
In the case of primary health care,
Is in
but
the
it's primary
news.
health care is cheaper.
Okay. Nurse Bukola, let's come back. Let's come back right after this timeout. Your internet is beginning to seize again, but we'll be back in just a few seconds. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this. To take control of the money where you they make and wetin go happen next. Now the cocoa of life for plenty people there. How to manage their money? They start with how them they run things with their partner. But true, plenty says they inside family planning. When you do family planning, you go fit to use Confido. Take the run things with your partner under the move. You go get plenty joy as money where you they make go reach you spend, and your health and your well-being go they protected. No tanda the look make you join body with plenty people them. We don't discover the joy where they inside of family planning for Lagos. Remember, say you fit to choose from different plans where they available and make everything sweet for your future. Visit your health center today. Oh yeah, make this move now. Make your future day full with happiness and the good health. Now the Challenge Initiative TCI and Development Communications Network DEFCOMS do this message.
Did you know that micro, small, and medium enterprises account for 96% of Nigeria's businesses and contribute to about half of the country's GDP? They also provide around 84% of all employment in the country. Want to know more? Join us on Ward Street Drive, our new business show, 2:30 p.m. Mondays on Nigeria Info 99.3 FM. Let's talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
All right, Lagos.
You're listening.
All right, Lagos, we are back. We have about 3 minutes to go to wrap up the show. Let me read this one before I go back to Nurse Bukola. The major considerations for labor and delivery centers are the ability to manage complications. What you need to ask as expectant mothers before registering: 1. Availability of theater space and equipment, readily available doctors and obstetric experience, readily available anesthesia service, readily available doctors with neonatology experience. Until we achieve this as a country, we can significantly reduce maternal and infant mortality. From Matthias, Lagos Island. Thank you so much. This one is coming from who. Okay, this one is coming from Ifesinachi. He says, good afternoon, Zaynab. Well done. This is a good one. I've learned 3 things today. Things that could lead to I've learned 3 things today. Things that could lead to situation getting out of hand. I've learned about hemorrhage. I've learned about third tiers, and I've learned about, please, you need to get this right once again. Don't worry, we'll help you. Dr. Bukola. Hello, Dr. Bukola. I mean, Nurse Bukola, rather. Somebody had called you doctor, so please, could you refresh our memory on the 3 things you mentioned earlier? Ifesinachi is trying to get the
postpartum hemorrhage, that's bleeding after childbirth, heavy bleeding after childbirth, then low heart rate, and also 3rd class tear.
All right. Thank you. So, Ifesinachi, you got it right this time. The nurse has just helped us out. Now, let me go to my last question. Nurse Bukola, for a woman who is already booked a midwife neighbor, what can she do now to reduce her risk during delivery?
Yeah. First, like I said, she should consider the 3 things I've mentioned. If that person is having all these 3 things in place, then it's fine. So if these 3 things are not in place, which is if the person is registered, if the environment is conducive, and if they have the facilities for emergency cases, that means the place is okay for delivery. But if all those 3 things are not in place, then the person should just go and register in a better place, better hospital, better facilities.
All right, thank you. Lastly, what role can husbands, families, or even community leaders play in improving maternal health outcomes? As a professional, from your own professional perspective, husbands especially.
Yes. No, mostly women, is only the woman that will go to the place to go and register. The husband, most husbands don't follow their wife. They don't even know where the wife is going for antenatal until she's in labor. So it's good if the husband can follow her for antenatal to check, because from the husband's perspective, we can be able to know, no, this place is not okay for you, or it is fine for you.
Fantastic.
So if the husband can follow the woman for antenatal care, to go and know where the woman is going to give birth, it's going to help also. Also, the environment, the community, if they notice that this person is not having a license to practice, and the death rate is high in that place, the best thing is for them to report to the right authorities, so that they can do the right thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Nurse Bukola Emetuobi, registered nurse, MD Borat Medicals. We appreciate your time today on the show. We'll definitely reach out again. Enjoy your Easter holidays. Thank you, Lagos. It's time for the news, and Yvonne Haifo is live in the studio. Please stick around.
Nothing travels faster than news.
The Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, open up West Bank's timeline to retire old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes.
Great conversations last longer.
Then just because sometimes she just change all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's not going good.
The news update on 99.3 Nigeria Info. 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.